From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2345, this is Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, October 12, 2022. NASA has selected 2 more amateur radio operators to be on board the maiden voyage of the Boeing Starliner 1 next year as part of the agency's commercial crew program.
2 amateur radio operators were recently chosen to return to the International Space Station, but this time they expect to arrive there aboard the first flight of NASA's new Boeing Starliner 1. Astronaut Scott Tingle, KG-5NZA, will be its commander, and Mike Finke, KE-5AIT of NASA, will serve as the Starliner's pilot. They will join Jeanette Epps, KF-5QNU, who will be aboard as mission specialist. NASA assigned her in August of 2020 to join the crew. There is no launch date yet for Starliner 1. It must complete NASA's Boeing Crew Flight Test, which ensures the spacecraft can fly crewed missions to the ISS on a regular basis. This is part of NASA's commercial crew program. The first test flight is scheduled for early 2023. I'm Paul Brown, WD9 GCO.
If you're involved in scouting or know someone who is, you know that October is a big month on the Scout calendar.
Jamboree on the Air and Jamboree on the Internet is the world's largest digital scout event taking place on the Internet and over the airwaves. Held every year in October, the event connects millions of young people around the world for a full weekend of online activities that promote friendship and global citizenship. In 2022, Joda Jodai takes place from the 14th to the 16th of October. For the Joda side of the event, scouts and guides all over the world will connect with each other by means of amateur radio. Shortwave and digital radio signals carry their voices to virtually any corner of the world. It's the sheer excitement of having a live conversation with a fellow scout or guide at some other place in the world that attracts so many young people to this event. Event planning information or resources can be found on the K2BSA website at k2bsa.net. Register your station today at jotajoti.info and check out the virtual campsite where you can find lots of activities for this travel-free jamboree. For Amateur Radio Newsline and the K2BSA Amateur Radio Association, this is Bill Stearns, NE4RD.
Members of the ITU have chosen their next leader, and she's not just the first woman, she's a ham.
The International Telecommunications Union, the United Nations agency that coordinates telecommunications operations globally, has elected an amateur radio operator from the U.S. as its new Secretary General. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, KD2JTX, will be the first woman to hold that office when she succeeds Howlin Zhao on January 1st. Her campaign page on the U.S. Department of State website lists her deep involvement with the ITU, most recently as director of the ITU's Telecommunications Development Bureau. The website listed her accomplishments in bringing about upgrades that better embrace digital advances, and that her work in the role supported global efforts to promote school connectivity and greater involvement of youth. Under her leadership, the ITU focused on giving youth more of a voice in strategy and programs. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Dave Parks, WB8ODF.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at arnewsline.org. With Paul Brown, WD9GCO, Bill Stearns, NE4RD, Dave Parks, WB8ODF, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe, I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation.